This is the future. Evolution.
Remember when I said that Cronen Prime was the one that received the most buff from the recent update? Well, I was wrong. Not just Cronen Prime, but almost all TONFAs in general, received a massive upgrade from the most recent changes. Okay, let's discuss these melee weapons one by one in the testing room, so you can see the raw power of each TONFAs. But before we start, I would like to say that in this video, I will just be showing Talos Bolt, the Ouma, and Cronen Prime. I don't have the regular Cronen and Bolt on my arsenal, so I will skip these two TONFAs. Anyway, you can still use the same build on the regular versions, but expect it to slightly dish out lower damage compared to Talos Bolt and Cronen Prime. Okay, let's begin. First off, we have Cronen Prime. This melee has no special mechanic compared to the two TONFAs. However, it packs a lot of slash damage, which makes it very powerful against enemies we often face on long endurance runs. It's paired with a balanced critical chance and status chance, and when we mod it with a hybrid viral condition overload build, it will completely wreck enemies in just a couple of hits. The best part is, when you have gained max combo counter, you can just watch the enemies bleed to death, and their level, nor their armor doesn't matter. They just die when you hit them with Cronen Prime. The next one is Ouma. Compared to the other two TONFAs, this melee weapon is special since it got innate electricity. Aside from the fact that you can heat with electricity to form radiation, or toxin to form corrosive, this element is now a great crowd control. In the most recent status changes, the R of effect for electric damage, which is part of the status effect, can now reoccur while the target is still under the stun animation of another electric status effect. But squad leader, I think Cronen Prime will be far superior against armored high-level units since it got slash damage on it. That's where you're wrong. Ouma can almost match the raw power of Cronen Prime without needing any slash on its base stat value. Using the same exact build I've used for the Cronen Prime, this melee weapon can also destroy enemies within a couple of seconds. How did this happen, you asked? It's because both Gemini Cross and Sovereign Outcast do proc slash damage with a 100% chance. The third hit of Rogue Edict from the Sovereign Outcast stance does apply slash damage. The same goes for the second attack of Villain Rule, which applies 25% bonus slash damage. On the other hand, the second and last hit of Vagrant Blight from the Gemini Cross stance also applies slash proc. Discord Zone, which is the heavy attack for Gemini Cross, also applies some strong slash proc, which leads to massive bleed damage. Long story short, TONFAs don't necessarily need to have a base slash damage stat, as their stances will take care of it. So which is the best stance for TONFA then? For me, it's definitely based on personal preference. Although I like the fluidity of the forward movement of Sovereign Outcast, but my best advice is, if you don't have an extra former, just stick to the given stance polarity. Anyway, they just do the same thing, which is, allowing your TONFA to completely destroy enemies in a couple of seconds. Now let's move on to Talos Bolt. This TONFA is also low in slash damage, but, as I've said earlier, that will not matter since we have stances that can proc slash. What separates this TONFA from the other two is that, it has the highest status chance among all TONFA weapons, and it has a mechanic wherein you can either pull or ragdoll enemies when you perform a slide attack. When using the same build as the previous two TONFAs, it can also melt high-level armored enemies. Now take note, it's not all viral slash build honestly, and you can replace these two dual status mods depending on the faction you are facing. It so happens that long endurance missions, that are worth running right now, have bullet sponge enemies that are weak to both slash and viral. Like always, try to tweak your build to your liking and just use this guide as a reference. Also, I would like to say that I will not just be doing melee and Warframe reviews and builds on this channel. In fact, I have one secondary weapon review coming up. It's all about my infested testicles. No lads, I'm not talking about my human anatomy here. I'm talking about the pox. We will be discussing how you can benefit from this weapon on my next video, so be sure to subscribe if you are not part of the squad yet. Lastly, please do give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Squad leader signing off.
This is the future. Human error.